Gordon Ingram is a founder and director of VU.CITY, which has created, and I quote, a highly accurate and revolutionary 3D model with integrated data, which is transforming the planning and communications process around new developments, first in London and in cities across the world. So, Gordon, can you tell me a bit more about how you're delivering this for planners and developers in London?
Thank you, Peter. VU.CITY started when we started to see ourselves that the planning system was quite coagulated and very lengthy and time consuming and often quite iterative. We approached, starting in London, the local authorities and gave them the opportunity to use a highly accurate 3D model, and it came with a platform with tools which allowed one to be much more interactive with that model and start to understand not just individual developments but also collective or contextual developments, so that one would get more clarity and better communication in a digital format. As I'm speaking to you, we now have 80% of the London boroughs using VU.CITY in either pre-app or planning committees, and we're seeing the other boroughs, including ones already licensed to use this, considering the use of VU.CITY in actual public consultation. Part of this was to model the whole of London, so all 1,617 square kilometres of London has been modelled to an accuracy on the roofscape of 15 centimetres. And therefore, any part of London can be looked at in terms of long range views or immediately next to a development. We've also tried to create some levels of flexibility around this. So our subscription model, in terms of being able to license the use of it, is one where either public sector or private sector can take an annual license to use that, or indeed a monthly license as well, so that it can be perhaps used for particular projects. Over the last few months, we've been developing cloud because we recognise that the sort of weight of the programme has been such that it's been more challenging to use. So the use of cloud now means that it's much easier to use on lower spec machines, and particularly with the COVID situation, that it's been used at home a lot more by users. Part of where we are going this year is looking at project collaboration, which means effectively users of the product can actually collaborate with each other and share models or information around projects or applications, so that there'll be much more online use and connected use within the product. And our next stage is to complete a piece of work, which again we feel will help with the whole planning process, where you can put your own data in. You don't have to rely on VU.CITY. VU.CITY will actually allow you to put your own data in, and you can share that data in a confidential manner between users. And ultimately that means moving shortly thereafter to software development kits, effectively SDKs or plugins, which allow people to put other programs within that platform as well. We're updating the model every 3 years and have a model creation team, so that they're looking at putting in consents at the moment as well, so that the model will always stay present, where you'll be able to see those consents. And our next stage on this journey will be to put planning applications in, and the idea of that is what we're hoping to get is the encouragement from the local authorities, and this will go beyond London ultimately anyway, but that encouragement to have 3D models submitted as part of a planning application, that then VU.CITY can immediately put them in, and for local communities or other stakeholders, they can look at and see and understand the nature of a proposal at the same time that a local authority is considering it too.
Thanks. Now, the current COVID situation has obviously accelerated the use of digital planning, with virtual planning meetings happening really very smoothly at the moment. This is going to speed up people using your systems, is it?
We think it is. That's been our current experience with COVID, and we've been very fortunate that we've had local authorities such as the City of London, Bexley and Haringey, Southwark, all saying to us, we need your support and help in being able to use this, not only for internal discussion, but also for planning committees as well. And so what we're recognising is that particularly where you can't be physically in a room together, we're in a situation where holistically a lot of data is coming together with people who are able to look at that online as a common independent platform, which is showing not only accuracy, but also the data levels, such as if you're in a space where you're looking at the London Viewing Management Framework, for example, you could look at that. You could look at conservation areas, listed buildings, as well as the application, together with other consents in the immediacy. And all of that level of information is easy to use, easy to understand, and to be able to see from any given direction, which then allows there to hopefully be more trust in that system. Because obviously one of the things that we picked up historically is that the trust aspect between local authorities, local communities and stakeholders and the development forum needs to be tightened together. And we would like to feel that VU.CITY could be at the heart of that by providing that quality of accuracy and information that altogether allows the trust element to be reinforced and supported. This is also something I should add that we've been talking to MHCLG about, and they're very interested in seeing that developed across the country, not just in London. And they're looking at how decision making can retain or be improved on its quality, but also speeding up the process too.
But I suppose that a lot of the people who are using your system are professionals. Now you're developing methods of communicating planning proposals to local communities. How will this work? So how will local communities get their hands on the information, and how will you explain it to them?
So we have recognised that one aspect of planning is working with the local authorities so that they get to understand the development proposal in a clearer way, and obviously bringing the development community to recognise that it's being conveyed in an accurate and clear visual manner is important. But the bit that's been missing is, well, how do you get the local communities to be able to properly understand and comment within the same forum? So we've created a sort of a mini VU.CITY. We call it Your View, and it gives the opportunity for anybody from the local community, and in fact beyond that if necessary and relevant, to be able to not only look at a scheme from the ground, or in fact from any given location at all, but go through it, see information from it. And the idea of it is that you can comment on your scheme. Also, it gives the local authority and the development forum the opportunity to both respond or proactively offer their own comments. So often what happens, that what we see at planning committees, is that you see these pieces of information going forward in piecemeal, or people haven't appreciated key ingredients in a proposal or what a developer's actually offering. This is a time to be able to share that. So if someone says, I think this is too big, for the developer to say, well, it needs to be that size because, for example, my SIL payment, my Section 106, or my affordable housing contribution is such that that means that what we can give back will allow that to happen only if we can get that size of a scheme. So the idea of this, what we're hoping for, is that there'll be clearer and better communication. It doesn't avoid other consultation methods that already occur within the development forum, but we would feel this will augment it and speed the process up. And ultimately, as I mentioned earlier, if we can get the planning applications as and when they're submitted into the public domain, whilst it means there's change and people can comment and perhaps react and rather than respond, i.e. it can be emotional if you're a local, in the local community or a local neighbour, at least it brings out a forum and brings out the opportunity to have more levels of deeper communication and conversation about any proposal. We find already that RBKC, as a local authority, they are testing the integration of this into their own planning pipeline, and it's something that they're very keen to see happen. Croydon have also been talking to us about consulting on their local plan, and part of the consultation process could use this, and they're looking at that within their own urban room, as they call it. And TfL also been considering this, particularly looking at how they can provide more housing. They're considering if there's an opportunity for virtual reality experiences of their proposals that local communities could connect to through this as well.
Thanks. No, in fact, the mayor is planning to use this as well, and the new London plan suggests that he'll use 3D computer modelling to help him understand the impact of new proposals. So how do you think this is going, and how would you like to see it working?
I don't know what the current position is with the mayor right now, but our last conversation, which happened earlier this year, they were certainly talking about the creation of a model which would have the opportunity for connection with local communities as well. The idea at the time that they were talking about the use of AR, augmented reality, and potentially using a smartphone with potentially a more basic model to give somebody a sense of the size and massing of a proposal, but also to be able to comment on it. One of the elements which is common to both what your view, the VU.CITY approach is, and the mayor's approach, is that it's a recognition that digital technology covers more demographics as well. So the mayor's hope is that there'll be a more response from different demographics as part of that approach, and it will be more simple in its response. I think if that's where it is, our concern is that the lack of accuracy may be a challenge in terms of, or lack of detailed information in terms of the ability to accurately or appropriately comment on what's being proposed. If you can't fully recognize the location in which you're in, or the block models are lacking in the clarity of what that proposal might feel and look like in any depth, then it could lead to a level of inaccuracy in both comment and understanding. So our own view is that it would be better to look as much as possible like the area in which somebody lives in, which helps reinforce the point about trust, which we think is central to this whole approach. And whilst that means it will be more costly and more challenging to be able to provide a whole model of London, it does mean that once it's been created once and for all, and obviously VU.CITY have done that already, but recognise it has to be maintained. But once it's there, it can help people feel that there is a common place to go to where that quality is there throughout the whole model, and the ability to understand proposals and their implications can be communicated in a much better way.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, Gordon, thank you very much for your comments, and thank you for letting us know about what you're doing. And I think now that we've all accepted, I think very speedily, new ways of working, new ways of doing things, I can see that this will be a benefit to ensuring that we have a much more efficient and digital-based planning system in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter.